Okay, hi everyone, and thanks so much for joining us. It's going to be really exciting. We will hear straight from the field about what's happening out there, and we'll talk about the age of pilots being over. The pilots, the last 3 years, perfect. We completed all the pilots, and let's look at how localization leaders are actually implementing AI in real world this time and age. And let's kick it off with some introductions. So, Tommaso, you want to go first?
Yes, hi Olga. Hi everyone. It's nice to be here. My name is Tommaso Rossi. I work at Spotify and I'm the head of localization and internationalization.
Thank you so much, Tommaso. Julio?
Hey everyone, this is Julio Leal, based in Spain and head of localization at Rover.com.
Thank you. Anna?
Hi, I'm Anna, head of content localization at SumUp. I lead the global localization strategy, language solutions, and localized content delivery across all markets.
Fantastic. Thank you. And Patricia?
Yeah, last but not least, Patricia Sainz, representing SAS as Translation Program Manager inside marketing. Happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Thanks so much for joining us. And it's extremely exciting because you guys represent different industries as far apart as possible. So you obviously come from very, very different perspectives. So let's kick it off and let's talk about how does your company implement AI in localization at this time and day. And maybe as we speak about it, we also can talk about what was the biggest surprise. And maybe Tommaso, you could kick us off.
Yeah, absolutely. Happy to. At Spotify, we have a very, very big taste for experimentation and for innovation. We obviously are, like everybody else, playing a lot with AI and with technology. We are obviously looking at AI to increase efficiency in our localization production, but we really want to do more than that. So one of the things that a clear example of what we're trying to do is to move localization into the digital and media space. We are experimenting with AI for live captioning, for subtitles, for dubbing, and we are pushing the boundaries of localization as much as possible thanks to the power of technology. We are even moving into the possibility and the experimentation of using AI-powered translation for audiobooks, which is something that is very revolutionary and very innovative. When it goes into the localization production and our operation system, we're even trying to look at localization not as the classic English first and then translation later, but more about how can I produce the content directly into 70 plus languages, for example. And it's very surprising, in my opinion, how the technology is advancing and how incredibly successful it can be in these areas.
That's super exciting, super interesting. You certainly had my attention on the audiobooks part. We'll have to chat more about it. So many books that I'm sure we all would love to read. Okay, Julio, so let's see what Rover would say on the topic.
Well, probably the most concrete example I can give is customer support localization. We roll out AI translation for support content, and the early results were genuinely promising. But the headline I want to give the audience is not it works. The headline is that performance varies dramatically by language pair. High resource languages perform at a level probably that we would consider production ready, while others need auditing because the quality doesn't always hold as expected. Right now, one of the pilots that I'm more interested in is the adaptation from US English into UK English. Actually, the UK is one of our top key markets in Europe for Rover.com. And that's actually becoming our entry point for a broader pattern, because if we solve that cleanly, the same approach will follow for Dutch and Flemish and German across Germany, Austria, and Switzerland, which are markets where Rover.com is actually present. So the surprise wasn't probably the upside. It was how probably the upside is. It's very uneven. So that's a conversation that our industry probably needs to have more frequently. AI works, but doesn't work everywhere at the same level or every day at the same level, right? So the expectation internally and making sure that your stakeholders understand that is probably half the job.
Wonderful, very interesting. And I don't know if you I hope you were able to attend the product kickoff session today. But if not, we're very happy to announce that we are now supporting very granular adaptation. So that would be a shortcut to solving the Swiss German, Austrian German, and German German. So that's no, but it's very, 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 very interesting use case. Okay, Patricia, what about you?
Yes. In our case, we are currently modernizing our website to provide a more consistent and outstanding customer experience globally. And part of that is translating 36 times more content than last year. Not twice, not 10 times, 36 times. So we took the bold decision to move toward AI in every step of the translation process. We started right at the core. We clean up our translation memory, build glossaries, style guides specific for marketing, because we want to be crystal clear on how SaaS brands should resonate across our key markets. And a couple of weeks ago, we replaced our train and MT engine by an LLM fine-tuned with RAG using those assets. And what surprised us was how quickly we could see the impact. A 30% drop in edit distance and 100% average improvement in human parity. So that encouraged us to speed up testing fully AI-enabled workflows. Hopefully next week, some more to come.
Wow, that's fascinating. No, that truly is fascinating, and obviously that matches all the findings that we have across the board. Once you switch to LLMs with RAG and fine-tuned LLMs, obviously that bumps up your quality. Okay, well, it all sounds great, but maybe we talk about. I'm sure there were, just like with every new initiative and a massive innovation or the overhaul of the universe as AI is, maybe we chat a little bit about, okay, was it all that peachy and perfect, or did we find out that there were some issues there? Tomasa?
There is not necessarily about issues, but about accepting failure, probably. So in my opinion, I'm proudly part of an organization that is has a culture of disrupting and a culture of breaking things and to bring them back to life, to reimagine things in a different way. And I believe that with AI, we kind of embracing this spirit at the same time. So when we look at things right now, I don't think that localization has an industry culture that has necessarily a big embracing for failure and for learnings. We celebrate a lot of success and a lot of achievements, but we don't talk about failure very much. And I think that with AI we have to, because we are all experimenting, we are all trying and testing new technology, and we need to recognize when things don't go exactly the way that they were supposed to. So the most important thing for me is taking the learning away from the experience, experiment and somehow take some risks, and at the same time try to understand and to expect some failures and make sure that you don't consider them a step back, but actually a new brick to build a better wall.
Look, fail fast is fail fast, right? That's the mantra.
Right.
Okay, let's move on to the next question, and let's see. The AI world changes rapidly, right? We all wake up to new models every day. Every day something new has happened. So how do you guys navigate that? And how do you actually make technology decisions? What's best? Do you chase every new model? Do you do it otherwise? Do you do it differently? Julio, you want to kick us off?
Yeah, sure. Well, to be honest, I've stopped trying to keep pace with the landscape. And I'd probably encourage everyone here to do the same. You can really, and chasing it is how teams really burn out without shipping anything in the long run. So what we keep pace with instead is our own use cases. So constraints that actually matter, your language portfolio, your content types, your quality threshold for each of those locales. Those don't change week to week. So I would suggest that we should anchor decisions there. And the technology question becomes much smaller when you have all that scope very clear. So basically, you are not picking the winner of this crazy AI race. You're picking what fits the problem right now for your company, and you just stay open for changing it whenever something better shows up in the landscape.
Wonderful. Thank you. And Patricia, any words of wisdom from you?
Yeah, no, I agree with Julio. I would only add that it's important to be realistic about the outcome you're going to get and not base your decision based on hype. And also measuring what is the level of success you're going to have with that output versus the level of investment and resources you need to spend. And if the outcome is not meaningful, then it's a clear no. And one last thing on enterprise level, trust, compliance, and safety. That's all.
That's an absolute total mantra. And obviously, we're here from the vendor perspective, we're here to help you benchmark, analyze, and navigate, right? And take the burden of benchmarking off your shoulders, right? And with that, let's move on to the topic that's being discussed probably most in LinkedIn conferences and everywhere else. So what happens to the role of localization team? And what are we now? Right? What are we now? Where do we fit in the overall corporate infrastructure? So, Tommaso, you want to kick us off again?
Yeah, absolutely. I am a very big advocate about how the localization role in an organization like ours have changed quite dramatically and quite quickly. We started the conversation with being this kind of shifting away from the service desk and the localization provider inside a corporation and moving to a more of a strategic enabler for the company. And now we are with this arrival of technology, we definitely need to also rethink who we are and how we do things and how we position ourselves in the whole AI revolution inside our company. So when we look at localization, definitely the goal is to look at prototype workflows where AI can handle repetitive production and humans can really focus on what they bring value. The point is not to replace a human, but it's to use the human judgment and the human ability for what is meant for and for what is valuable in order to, and the point is really replacing the automatic clicking and the automatic button with technology and use ourselves for the creative, the quality judgment and the decision making. So overall, I think that the point is really to reposition a little bit who we are, move away from the operational processes and operational production, focus on not looking just at tools and shift the conversation into how can I upskill my team in order to be and ourselves as a team of localization in the company to make sure that we really play that role of enabler, strategic player, and advocate and ambassador for AI in our domain. At Spotify, we have a very complex work. I'm sure that everybody has, but we have more than 180 countries. We have more than 70 languages to deal with. It's not possible. It's not sustainable to stay in the classic way of approaching localization. We need to shift, and that's what localization is doing.
Wonderful. No, very true, very true. You're gonna throw things over the fence to us and expect us to. Okay, Anna, let's hear from 36x increase in volume. And what did all of this alongside new technology do to your processes, your role in the organization? How did your life change?
Very similar as Tommaso is saying, we're currently experiencing this transition. Not long ago, our team at SumUp moved from the marketing organization into a product and engineering org, where this is the part of the business that is focusing on creating the infrastructure for the rest of the business to be able to operate and scale. And already this shift itself has kind of really signals a very fundamental change in how we create and where we create value as a localization team within the business. And all of these advances that we're talking about today in terms of AI and automation, as well as our closer collaboration with product and engineering, are kind of accelerating the transition of our team from a centrally managed enabling service into more of a like system-driven function that is internally increasingly operating like an internal product, I would say, right? Similar as Tommaso said, we're becoming more focused on creating the frameworks, operating models, and shipping tooling to the rest of the business in order to allow that localization is happening more efficiently at scale. And that means that we're strengthening our role as system designers that are creating these localization capabilities. And that's why also similar what we heard before, the execution is now more focused on shipping these solutions. It's more about orchestrating these automated workflows, and the hands-on program management is more and more focused around high impact and high complexity initiatives. And while we're already building this new organizational model, we really need to kind of push further when it comes to the mindset and the skill sets from us, strengthening our role of the solution architect and system designer, which also means that we need to build on the skills around the technical understanding, leadership capabilities, and even continue experimenting in our area.
Great. Does your company invest into actual upskilling and actual education?
Yes,
And
definitely. Today you could hear that we had there was a case study presented on product localization and how we elevated the way how we process UI content, and this is where we actually needed to upskill the entire team so that we're able to work closer with the product and engineering teams.
Fantastic. Julio, what about the role of your org and how did that change for you?
Well, no question that the whole AI narrative is, dramatically changing our team as well. But what I want to say here is that we need to move from just doing localization to actually owning the AI narrative within organizations, because that's not going to happen just because you write a strategy document. It just happens when you have hundreds of small conversations across product, engineering, marketing, support, all those key stakeholders. Because basically you need to be involved in all those conversations around AI, because those conversations are going to happen and will take place either if localization is ready and present or not. So the teams that come out of this situation with a stronger position are the ones who are actually ahead of the whole story. So they are not waiting for other functions to tell them what they need to look like in the future. And basically they walk into conversations and they walk into leadership rooms with their own messaging about what AI localization means. And actually the teams that I see struggling right now are the ones that are just heads down on execution and assume that the whole work will speak for itself. So it's about owning the story, it's about owning the AI narrative, and making sure that everyone understands what AI means for localization.
What would you say about just out of curiosity, about that proverbial seat at the table? Do you think that changed a lot? Like the ability to influence upstream and the ability to talk to stakeholders across the org?
Probably I think that AI came in to help localization teams, because probably we were one of the first organizations within companies to start using AI, and other organizations came after us. So probably we are the ones being asked and for advice in terms of use cases for AI, see where we were successful, see where we failed. And I think that makes localization quite relevant in all the AI conversations happening across all companies right now.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thanks so much. I was chatting with somebody from the industry the other day and we said, hey, large language models are called language for a reason, right? And we've been doing it much longer than anybody else. Okay, Patricia, up to you. Your org and how did it change? Where are you in that? Where are you on that journey?
I could add, I agree with all of you, being intentional about where AI helps and where human provides irreplaceable value. But from where I see that the shift is coming from a bigger change. The whole digital ecosystem has changed, not just localization. So the way people discover and consume content is different. Zero click is real, particularly in B2B. Buyers rely more in AI than in sales teams, and LLMs become the middle layer between brand and consumers. In practice, that means that we need to produce much more global content across different platforms at the same time at a much faster pace than we used to. And the way I see it, current workflows and tools are not much in this picture. So I think that's where the shift role starts to show up. And maybe owning the system doesn't mean anymore to push work through the pipeline, but to sit with a bigger team. Since you said sit at the table, Olga, I think we need to have across functions, different teams to rethink how we create content, localize it, govern, and reuse it on an ecosystem that we don't fully own anymore. And in my opinion, I think we need to spend less time optimizing individual tasks and more time building a system that could support this vision.
Okay, great. Thank you, guys. Okay, let's do a quick blitz around the table. One sentence, words of wisdom for those who are behind you on the AI in Loc journey. Let's try one sentence each and see where it takes us. Let's go around the table. So let's start from Anna this time. One sentence.
Oh, okay, it's me. Don't focus on the perfect plan. Focus on learning velocity. You need to experiment fast, learn fast, and adapt fast. That's important. Oh, two sentences.
Two sentences. Almost. A comma there, right? It doesn't need to be a full stop. Okay, Julio.
Okay. Start with the problem, not the technology. All good AI decisions start from a specific use case, not from a model release of an LLM. And honestly, be very honest about your success and your failures, because that's how you learn.
Wonderful. Fantastic. Tommaso.
I would say be willing to break things, to reimagine things completely, and even ask whether what you're doing still makes sense, because what you're doing today might not exist or be valid anymore in 6 months. So also adapt to change.
Thank you. Fantastic. Patricia.
Get your foundations right before you scale AI. Otherwise, AI will accelerate the chaos.
Oh, that's fantastic. AI not only accelerate the chaos, but build busy work, right? Suddenly you find yourself doing the busy work that you did not even think about, because suddenly you can produce 1,000 times more content. That's close to my own experience as well. Okay, question time. So now, when absolutely everybody in the org has access to translation tooling, okay, what has worked well for you to align product engineering, marketing, and your organization, maybe even other functions within the company, in terms of your AI global content delivery strategy? Who wants to grab that one? Any takers? Okay, I'll have to
I'm
call
happy to
somebody.
go.
Okay, well, okay, ladies first. Anna, go.
Okay, yeah. What helped us was this modular approach. So we have built the metrics not only about thinking, hey, let's think about content types and what would be the best quality approach for every single different requirement per channel. We have a modular approach when it comes to the quality metrics, a quality approach when it comes to a metrics approach, modular approach when it comes to AI strategy, what type of AI solutions are we applying, and then an automation modular approach. So what type of automation workflows can we offer? And then with this, it's very simple and it's very clear model to navigate the expectations of our stakeholders.
Wonderful. Okay, Tommaso, sorry.
For me, it's an incredible situation. I'm super happy. It brought down a lot of walls because all of a sudden everybody's in the same room, around the same table. Localization and multilingual content is no longer something that takes ages to produce. It's not a second thought. It has a strategic role in the conversation, and the product engineering, marketing, decision makers, they are confident that this is going to happen in a timely manner and in a very efficient way. So it's an incredible opportunity.
Fantastic. Patricia, Julio, if not, we have more questions to answer. Okay, not gonna call you out on this one. Let's go to the next one. Let's talk about the skills, right? And I think skills is another thing top of everybody's mind. So here we are, we've known localization for years, right? We know the roles of project manager, product manager, program manager, right? Probably in-country language specialist, QA specialist, right? There's been a certain composition of the localization team with a certain necessary skill set. So come this time and day, what skills you think are most important, like the ultimate crucial skills that we want within localization team one, now when we're no longer the execution universe, we're actually strategic and orchestration universe. So let's see. Any takers here?
Leadership
Okay.
competence, if you ask me, leadership. Because what we discussed, you need to be able to invite yourself to the table. You need to be able to articulate your position, and you need to kind of be able to secure the buy-in in order to keep the things moving you would like to progress on.
How interesting, Anna. So not technical skills, like not prompt engineering, not like actual be a leader and be able to drive.
Definitely.
Wouldn't have thought about it this way, but it's very, very true. Anybody else? Any, like, what you learned from your team? Go ahead.
Yeah, I would also add from my personal point of view, it's actually curiosity. I think that we are all learning as we go. So presuming that we all have the answers for everything would be too ambitious. So it's just losing that fear of experimenting, failing, going a dead end road. Just be open, experiment, and enjoy the road. Yeah. So that's basically much about it.
That's very interesting. Patricia, no? Yes, no? Yes.
Yeah, I was going to say resilient and also orchestration, but not only inside localization, but production. So many other things. You need to have the overview level of everything, particularly with agentic. If you want to deploy agentic, you need to be able to understand much more than your own world. So, but resilience, 100% in agreement with that.
Wonderful. And you're very right about orchestration, right? Because localization does not operate in isolation, right? There are a lot of other agentic pieces across your tech stack that you want your agents to speak to those agents and make independent orchestration decisions. That's very, very, very fair. Okay, guys, thank you so much for your amazing insights and fantastic conversation. Again, it was super priceless that you come from different companies, different backgrounds, and thank you. We all learned from you and off to implement. And thanks again for the great session.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us.
Have a good week.
Thank you everyone for listening.